Hi, welcome to the Thaiger. Now, this week on Good Morning Thailand, we spoke to our guests Friso and Greg from the Bangkok Community Help Foundation about a critical problem in some of the slum areas, workers' camps and construction sites. Just a few weeks ago, the Thai government decided to lock up some 585 of these construction camps, locking in Cambodian, Burmese and Thai workers, saying you cannot get out. And they're trying to obviously control the clusters. The situation in some of those camps is now urgent, and we find out more about it when we spoke to Friso and Greg.
People are hungry and they don't have water, they just ignore them, and that's where we come involved and we help them.
So the situation is that the government said, okay, we're going to close down these workers' camps. Some 600, these are places that are being built by developers, and they said, you can't come out of there, and the developer is responsible for feeding them, but they're not all feeding them as they should be. This is what you're saying?
Right.
Yeah, and they're also not all paying them as well. So in many cases, not all the workers are in the social fund, which means if the construction company doesn't pay out the 150 baht a day that they were actually supposed to, then these people have no income at all. So they will not be able, of course, to buy anything for themselves. But the bigger issue is also that they obviously have families outside of the camps that are waiting for their support. They are there working in those camps in the first place to, support their families outside. So it ripples again out to everybody that's depending on them, of course.
Can you give me some numbers? How many people are involved and who are they?
Well, it's around 80,000 people that are in the construction sector that's involved. Around 32,000 they estimate are no longer in the camps. So 48,000 are locked in to those 585 camps. And, some of the stories that we have found where, they're building 50 million baht houses, and the developer just is no longer showing up. And he said, what do we do for food, boss? And he pointed to the lake and said, go fish. We had a situation where a developer brings one box meal every 2 days. So they get a half a meal a day. And so, some of the situations are really, really bad. So we're there to help out on the construction. And a lot of people have opened their pocketbooks and say,
How did you find out about this? I mean, these are some horror stories. But how did you become aware?
It's literally by going there. Of course, I mean, it's very hard to find, because you can't Google construction camp and find a list of all of them, right? So we really rely on our network, on our donors, on people that are involved with our foundation that message us and say, hey, there's a camp in my soy. I see there's nobody coming. We had one person that saw a camp from her balcony. They were waving for help. We went in there, we assessed the situation. In that case, we found out that they haven't had any help for 20 days.
No water either.
No water, nothing. They were boiling the water from a water tank that they had on the construction site. So it's really, there's a lot of horror stories, and it's basically just for us to go there, assess the situation, find out what's needed, and then help as soon as possible.
Can we make a plea to your listeners? Yes. If you know of any construction site where this may be happening, let us know, at our Facebook page, Bangkok Community Help Foundation.
Okay, Bangkok Community Help, if you want to go to that Facebook page and get some more information and see some photos and stuff. And
if you'd like to donate, of course.
Yes, of course, if you'd like to donate. But reminding you that Bangkok Community Help is a registered foundation, so you can be assured that your money is going to people that are going to distribute the money responsibly and properly. So these would mostly be, cutting through a lot of the white noise here, these would mostly be Burmese and Cambodian migrants?
It's a mix, really. Thai as well. But those three nationalities are represented there. And they all, there's no difference made who gets help, who doesn't. The Thai also don't get help. It's a similar situation.
So these people are being guarded by police? People can't get out?
That is correct.
What about you guys getting in? They allow you access?
Yeah, we haven't had a problem. I mean, as far as the police allowing us to provide the food, that's not an issue. They just won't let them go out.
It's not that they're the bad guys or whatever. They actually also help us. I mean, they tell us what's going on in the camps. So they're really also supportive. So it's not that they're there very, very strictly, not letting anybody in. If we come and say we have help, they say, please come.
And is it army or police?
It's a mix. It depends on the camp.
Okay.
They deploy both, yes.
Jay?
Well, John wants to know, has there been a strong pushback by these people?
No.
That's not their nature, really.
No.
But
We ask.
it just sort of surprises me that these people are put in a horrendous situation. They've been cooped up, told they cannot leave. So obviously the possibility of catching COVID is much higher in these high density communities, and they're not really, clearly not getting the sort of medical attention that they deserve. I'd be banging the pots and pans and screaming from the rooftops.
You know, what's more strange is that when we ask them, well, will you stay working for your employer that didn't answer the phone for 20 days? And they look at us and said, well, of course, we can't go back to Burma, and we have no choice. We want to work. So, yeah, the boss must have a reason for not answering the phone, you know?
Yeah.
And so, you get that from camp after camp, that they look at us and, well, of course I'm going to go back to work. So
this is really the only thing they want to do. They want to get back to work and make money.
Sure. Jay?
Alexander wants to know, does Thailand have a police force or authorities that rescue such people that are not being fed?
There is some help. Obviously, when people are registered in the social fund, they receive 150 baht a day from the government. The issue is just that in many cases, not all the workers, or sometimes not any of the workers, are registered. So then there is no support in that way.
Right. But nobody has gotten any social fund yet.
No, it's also paid out late. So, yeah, I mean, the people really rely on the help of outside.
Correct. But they need to eat now. But at the end of the day, they still have to get the food in there somehow. So, yeah.
Another comment from one of our members?
Yeah, two of our members actually. So Jay says that they don't seem to have any power. What can they do? Which is true. And Greg says that please don't excuse the police because they aren't supporting them and locking these people in.
Well, I suppose the police are just doing what they're being told to do, but at some stage, I suppose, and this is why we're talking about it today, people need to know what's going on. And as you said, this is some 80,000 people and nearly 600 worker camps. Could we just move back to the original problem, which we got to know you guys, and have a quick talk about what's happening in Klong Toi, because these were people who they weren't necessarily locked in, but these are people who were leaving that slum area and going to work every day. What's the current situation for them?
I wanted to just go back on the construction camp. You know, I was talking about the 585 people. Some are good and some are bad. So some of the construction camps are in good shape and everything's great, but there are some that are bad, and those are the ones that we want to search and find out. As far as the Klong Toi slums, I think we can sum up the whole situation in Bangkok in general. No beds. You know, if there's two words that sums up the situation right now, there are no hospital beds, and people are really infected by that. And so we're searching, on the other hand, for places to put beds to get the people out of their homes, because when they're in the home, it's usually 15 square meters, and it's going to infect other family members who can't get them out. There's over 500 people on a wait list to get to an isolation center, and there is no isolation center that has room right now.
Okay, I think this is, Jay, something that I suppose we need to get our head around, is that whilst on one hand they're saying come to Phuket and Samui and have a fabulous time in Thailand and sit on the beach and enjoy the wonders of amazing Thailand, we've got stories like this. It's literally a horror story of these worker camps and people being locked in. And now we've got Greg saying that there is a critical shortage of hospital beds. So we've got some problems in Thailand that need some urgent attention. Do you think the government are aware of these situations, Greg and Friso? Or Why aren't these community, with these high density housing areas, not getting the support they clearly need? It's not only a danger to the people in the camps, but it's obviously a danger to the people everywhere else in Bangkok.
Yeah.
Right. But, at the end of the day, it's not by magic. I mean, they're aware of the situation, but, people call and plead for our bed. But if there is no bed, where are they going to put the person, right? So, there are some roadblocks. There's still some politics involved as far as like one area that we were looking at where they said they nixed the idea of putting beds there at a community center that we were going to develop because they said wastewater was going to be an issue. Well, there's a lot of wastewater in Klong Toy anyway, so it doesn't really matter, right? Right now, we're trying to save people's lives, right? So
this is really the priority. Yeah, people need to get out of the homes. Otherwise, we will infect everybody that's in the house, that's around the house. So this is really the absolute number one thing. What we also do, because there are no beds, we do provide people with oxygen as well right now. We have some cases of people literally gasping for air, having very heavy symptoms, no beds, again, can't go anywhere. So we actually go in there and provide them with oxygen and the equipment to actually make them able to breathe again. So this again is sort of a measure we need to take in order to keep people, well, literally alive in some cases. So
what sort of monies do you think Bangkok Community Help need at the moment on a daily basis to be able to continue the help that you've been providing with the food packs, and now with the other services you're trying to help with getting basic oxygen to people who are in desperate need?
Well, the oxygen cylinder costs 4,000 baht, and then the regulator is 1,500. We've been told not to use the regulator, more than once because it gets contaminated. But as far as the canister, that's part of the oxygen bank that we've now just accumulated, and so we definitely want to acquire as much more. We got a call last night at midnight where a person said, "Please come and help." And so our team went out and helped this gentleman right down the street, actually, Sukhumvit 22. It's a very high-end condo.
Yes.
So it's not only the poor that get infected by COVID, it's also the people that are well off as well. But they can't get beds. This person went to 3 hospitals yesterday and got turned away. His blood saturation level was 70.
Yeah.
And it's anything under 94 is red level, right?
What is life like in Bangkok at the moment? You guys both live there.
Well, I mean, for us, it's maybe a little bit different. I mean, we're on
yes.
we're on day 83 of our nonstop work, so we haven't rested a day, doing as much as we can. So for us, yeah, of course, Bangkok, what is it like? It's like putting out fires, swimming upstream. I think you could describe it as. There's a lot going on. Obviously, it's not getting better, unfortunately. And yeah, we're basically just trying to respond to as many things as we can to help, together with our team, of course. I mean, we have so many volunteers.
So it seems the government is really just locking down. We might want to avoid the...
It seems like life is normal, with the exception of the bars and the restaurants, and but there's traffic on the streets. It's unlike last April when, you remember the first little wave that there was 30 cases and we all were in shock, right? We could only wish for those days again.
But we were told stay home at that time. It was quite different. At the moment, they're saying, well, we'll close everything, but you can wander around. It doesn't seem like they're taking it really seriously.
Yeah, it's kind of strange. And last April, I mean, an hour before curfew, you would not see anyone. But now, I mean, it's a minute for curfew and there will still be people outside. So it's definitely a different vibe in general. But with the cases being this high, I mean, the alert should be much higher, of course. So, and with the situation with the hospitals and things, I mean, really, it's kind of bad right now. So
I guess there's a difference as well. I mean, now I wake up to almost every day of friends that got affected with COVID, looking either for a bed in a hospital or they want to get tested and they want to know where they can go. I think you mentioned
Same,
that you
yeah.
also, right? So that's the life in Bangkok is more people that you know get infected, and last April was not the case. So
And like you said, Tim, a very big contrast with what we see, the pictures and videos from Phuket and Samui, where
There you go.
life looks great. So yeah, a very good point. That's kind of hard to digest.
if you were in Phuket, stay in Phuket.
Jay.
Better there.
Friso and Greg, I have a lot of questions here from our viewers who want to help. So a lot of people saying, when I come back to Thailand, I am in Thailand. What can they do right now to help?
Well, if they're abroad and if they want to help, of course, the absolute best is to send in your donation. 100% of everything that comes in goes to people in need. You can see on our Facebook page exactly where we are, what we do. You can, specifically select, let's say I want to buy oxygen, I want to buy food. You can do that by letting us know with your donation. And of course, without donations, nothing of this is able to happen.
Right.
What
If
about
you're in
volunteers
Thailand-
and people? Have you got enough staff? Have you got enough people helping you?
We have over 300 volunteers. So we're in great shape there. We're always looking for more. But we've actually, one thing I want to branch out, that we're not only just helping the Quang Toi people right now. Last night at 8 o'clock, where were we last night? That street?
We were in Nawa Min.
Which is far away
Yeah,
from
yeah.
the slums. But this was a village that had 70 homes, and 30 of them, was it 30 or 40?
Yeah.
40 of the homes had COVID. So 30, as far as they know, did not have COVID. So they had put a plead out they never expected on Instagram. There's plead from this young girl saying, please help us. There's no food. Can you help? And we showed up, and they were totally in tears and, surprised. So we'll go anywhere if there's a village that really needs help.
Okay, Jay.
Yeah.
A lot of the viewers want to know, has the government contacted you or thanked you for all your work?
We're not really interested in thank yous. We're looking more for smiles from the people to get that they're happy, like last night at 8 o'clock, where the person was actually tears of joy because the community was going to get food. So that's where we get our thanks from.
Any more questions there?
Kev wants to know, if I'm in Bangkok and I want to volunteer today, how do I start?
You would just go to the Facebook page and send a message saying,
Hi,
I
I'm
would
here.
volunteer. That's
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Simple as that.
So
Then you're
you guys are doing a great job, obviously, as part of the Bangkok Community Help Foundation. But there are other groups around the country. Here we know in Phuket, there's One Phuket, and there's the work being done by Sean Stenning and the 5-Star Marine team. And there's other groups sort of looking after local communities. And in Chiang Mai and Pattaya, we talked about the husband and wife team in Pattaya just getting the 300 food boxes and going and handing them out every day. And they've been doing that for a year. So there's a lot of these little groups right around the country who are doing their thing. You guys are much more high profile. Obviously, you've got a much bigger support base. But the fact that you are telling us these stories is because they are real and these things are happening and they need attention. So we applaud everybody who's doing this remarkable work around Thailand at the moment, at a time
Absolutely.
where the government, for whatever reason, seems to be sort of trying to push it under the covers and no, everything's fine, we're sorting this out and all the cases are going up, but we'll just announce a few more restrictions. But there's clearly an underbelly of information happening here and not being clearly reported. We'll try and do something to amend that. Any final comments there, Jay?
Kevo with a quick question, are any NGO groups getting behind you?
We really work with our volunteer groups, which is fantastic. We have some big corporations that contacted us, not NGOs. I think everybody basically does their own thing as far as, NGOs, but we're kind of unique in that situation,
Yeah, in that way, very hands-on. And
We're very hands-on. We're just full force.
Just do it. But of course, any NGO, any person, again, can always contact us, go to the Facebook page, write us a message. We always answer very quickly. Any help, any support, any questions, please write us, because any help is very, very welcome. So thank you.
Right.
Okay.
I think as far as the government, what can they do at this point in time? at the end of the day, there are no beds, so they have to try to create beds as much as possible. But more importantly, they need to roll out the vaccine as fast as they possibly can. If they have to buy it, whatever, because we have to get out of this mess.
If anybody's watching, like we talked, we need to move the people out of their homes in order to stop the spread of this virus even more. If anybody has a building or a place
or a hotel,
anything where we potentially could build this community isolation center that we are planning to do, please contact us as well. This is very important. The sooner the better these people are out of their homes. We hopefully can curb the spread more. So if anybody has that, knows anything, any lead, small or big, please contact as well.
Well, thank you for watching those excerpts, and I'm sure you'll understand that there's a critical need to get this information out to a broader public. If you feel inclined to support the Bangkok Community Help Foundation, there's a link under this video, and we'd urge you to consider helping in any way you can. Thank you very much for watching The Thaiger, and we look forward to seeing you next time.